Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now, from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning and welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Dorothy, we're entering the last, 6 or 7 weeks of the year.
Yep, coming up fast.
Great time to be in Moore County.
Always a good time to be in Moore County.
Oh my gosh, from October on, Moore County just hits it on like 8 cylinders.
Yes, it
does. It's like a Currier and Ives postcard. We're going to be talking today about a building and a theater that was, was built in 1896, the Sunrise Theater in downtown Southern Pines.
Great little theater.
And we're going to be joined by the executive director, Tim Russell, who has been with the Sunrise for about a year, and Becky Podlogar, who is the operations director. And it's a new team, and they have a lot of great information to share with us today. And every year we have new people moving into Moore County, and it's always important to talk about iconic institutions that are part of the landscape here, so we can educate some of the new people moving into town and reintroduce people who have been here for a long time. You've heard me say in the past, I first came here, I was 4 years out of college. I came here on a golf trip in July of 1979. And I remember on West Broad Street, that's when only West Broad Street had stores. East Broad Street was downtrodden. There were broken glass and windows.
Yep.
There were home. It was something that it was not recognizable to what it is today. And I remember driving down Broad Street, and there was a little department store on the corner of New Hampshire and Broad, just a couple of storefronts away from the Sunrise Theater. And you've heard me say my favorite holiday movie is It's a Wonderful Life.
Right.
And the Sunrise Theater always reminded me of that theater in Bedford Falls, New York, that Jimmy Stewart, Donna Reed classic. And it has stood the test of time, and it's as much a part of the architecture of Moore County as any building in Pinehurst or Southern Pines. 26 years I've been here now, and I've seen so many events and seen the, I don't know what you call your billboard in the front of the theater.
The marquee?
Thank you. Thank you. You can tell I'm out in the theater business. So many different private events, plays, musicals, concerts.
Marriage proposals.
Oh yeah, that's right. I've seen that. Different real estate companies have held parties there. You probably know Julia Brockmeyer. Well, Julia had her opening for MoCo, I guess as she calls it. I'm not quite sure, where she became like the social director or influencer for information for all different things in Moore County, and she had it at the Sunrise Theater. That was about 11 or 12 years ago, I think. So you guys are a new team, and Tim, you came here a year ago, but you've been living in Moore County prior to that. Tell me a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah. My wife and I, we've been residents here for about 10 years. And
Where'd you move from?
we moved from Florida.
Okay.
And we're equestrians. And our story is similar to yours, where someone said, "Oh, you should come up and check out this cute little town called Southern Pines. It's very equestrian friendly."
Right.
And we did. We came up for a long weekend, and I'll never forget our first stop when we woke up on Saturday morning was breakfast at Betsy's Crepes.
Right.
Oh, this is wonderful. Then we walked across the street, and there was Casino Guitars, and I'm a big musician, and I thought this was the most amazing guitar store I've ever been in, and And then someone said, "Oh, go have dinner at Ashton's," and it was the most beautiful restaurant we had been in.
Huh.
And to make a long story short, Saturday or Sunday we started looking at houses, and Monday we found our dream farm, and about a month later moved to Southern Pines and had never looked back.
What were you doing in Florida?
I was working as an executive for the international vice president of an education company down there. So I've been in the corporate space for about 30 years, largely overseeing these education companies' international divisions. But
Right.
despite my corporate life, I always had this separate Walter Mitty fantasy life of being in the music and arts and culture, and I had been involved with nonprofits separately and always kept up with the music too. And so I've always had that as part of my background. And
You're entering Southern Pines in Moore County at a time where the culture is exploding with the arts. 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that was not the case. Today, it's like a game board. It's like make-believe land. And you're at the beginning of, I guess you're going to be talking about all the things that you're doing to take the Sunrise to the next level.
Yep, we sure will.
You have children?
I do. Got 2 kids, but
Are they in school or are they gone?
they're largely making their own way now. My daughter just graduated summa cum laude, I might add, from NC State
Oh, wow.
in economics, and my son
Congratulations.
just started his freshman year at App State.
Wow.
So they've got North Carolina in their blood for sure.
Sounds like you're doing this, like you mentioned, Walter Mitty, but for the love of, and maybe there's an element of pay it forward at the same time.
You know, part of that original visit, when we came to town, my wife and I, we went to see a show at the Sunrise. And I remember this so well, sitting about 8 rows back. It was a jazz concert, looking around and going, this is the neatest place I've ever seen. And I love telling the story. I walked into the lobby, and I immediately had this sense of history. And you could just smell it. You could feel it when you first walked in.
Right.
The acoustics in the auditorium were phenomenal. And so from that moment, I've absolutely loved the Sunrise. We went back. We saw many shows there. We, of course, donated to the Sunrise because it is a nonprofit. And when early last year, I had kind of semi-retired from my job, and it coincided well with the Sunrise's search for a new executive director.
Right.
And it was my wife who said, "Oh my gosh, Tim, you would be perfect for this." And sure enough, that's kind of how it all came to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have an operations manager sitting next to me that I happen to know a little bit and have a ton of respect for. You'll never have to worry about not being organized. I just want to let you know that up front, and I'm talking about Becky Podlogar. Becky, and you have a daughter in theater in New York, so you have an arts background and more from the operations and the directorial end, but you know how to herd the cattle, I think.
Yes.
Best way to say it.
Yes, I'm so excited to be at Sunrise. It is just, like you guys just talked about, just a beacon downtown that,
Right.
just a pillar of the area, and just so excited to be a part of all the upcoming events and the new things that are happening, exciting events coming up, lots more to come in the new year.
And you and your husband, I guess you're officially empty nesters, but
We are.
But you also made a lifestyle move where you now live much closer to where you work.
Yes.
So you're in that next chapter in your life too.
Yes, we moved from Lee County to Moore County, so not a huge move last year, but we just love this area, and we just love the people, love the community, and just working in the downtown area in the community is just a dream for me. So I just absolutely love it.
I always tell people who move here or who fall in love with Southern Pines or Pinehurst or Southern Moore County, what is it about this area that drew you here? And the answer that I seem to get a lot is it reminds so many people of the towns that they grew up in as kids, whether it be from New England or the Midwest or the Northeast. That charm that I first experienced in 1979 is still here. Granted, it's not as wooded as it once you get outside of the center, but that charm is still here, and that's what people seem to gravitate to. They love waking up here.
It's so true.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up in Boston, and there's so much, of course, of a Northeast influence in the area too. But
Tremendous.
But it's unique. There are lots of course, quaint towns all across North Carolina. But there is a certain special something about Southern Pines and Moore County. That just makes it an extraordinary place to live. And everybody feels that way.
That's right. I agree. You guys are putting your hands on the Sunrise Theater, and you're in the middle of some transitions. Is it accurate to say that the theater is being marketed in a different way than it was in the last 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, I think that's a safe way to put it. COVID was a devastating event for not just the Sunrise, but for theaters around the world, for reasons I don't need to explain. But one of the interesting impacts of COVID was that it really transformed the movie industry in many ways. And so for the last 30 years prior to COVID, the Sunrise was largely known as a cinema, a movie house. But COVID largely killed the attendance. People had now 80-inch TVs and surround sound systems at home,
right.
And movie theater attendance dropped, and this is a global statistic, by almost 85%.
Right.
And that number, same thing happened with the Sunrise. It used to generate cinema attendance, used to drive about 80% of the total revenues. It was then after COVID, less than 15%. And so it's really, the need to transform is largely driven by a pretty notable shift in patron desires and what they want.
The demographics have changed dramatically, and are continuing to change. It's becoming a very youthful, young environment. So when you talk about transforming the Sunrise into a performing arts venue, that covers a lot of things besides movies.
Yeah, it sure does. One of the first things I did when I came on was to do a big survey of the town. And we thought we might get 500 responses, but we ended up getting almost 2,000 responses for what did people want? What would they pay for? What would they not pay for? What kind of movies did they like? What kind of music and events? And, there were some really, really great findings from that. Some things that were really surprising. There was an extraordinary demand for live music. Some things were, I guess, the data proved that people were less interested in movies,
right.
Relative to other events. But
yeah.
Really, it was. We want things that we can't get at home, so people can see the latest movie at home all day long.
Yeah.
But
thank you, Netflix.
Yeah. But that's an opportunity for us, and that is what actually has been so much fun about this.
Right.
Is that we've been able to experiment, try doing things like comedy, concerts, experiential cinematic events like art on screen, just to name a few. And so, the support and the enthusiasm from the community around a lot of this new stuff that we're doing has been phenomenal. And I think it's safe to say that the Sunrise kind of pre-COVID was primarily a cinema that would occasionally do performing arts. I think it's safe to say that the Sunrise is in sort of this new phase, is more of a performing arts center that does
Yeah.
cinema.
When we come back in the second set, because we have a lot to talk about, I want to talk about the renovations to the Sunrise. You mentioned the acoustics, and I know a few years ago there was some work done to improve the acoustics. And then we want to get into the events, upcoming events. We're talking this whole hour all about the Sunrise Theater transforming into a performing arts venue. Guests are Tim Russell and Becky Podlogar. Boy, Becky, why do I have a hard time with your name? This is All Things More County. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our second set of All Things More County. We're talking all about the Sunrise Theater with the executive director, Tim Russell, and the operations manager, Becky Podlogar. Becky, I just want to say Becky. The Sunrise is a nonprofit organization, so you rely very strongly on community support, private donations, but the town of Southern Pines, they've embraced this transformation, I think, because they recognize the value. The Sunrise is one of the anchors of Southern Pines. That's how we look at it architecturally, and with all the improved acoustics and everything, it's now a state-of-the-art theater. What's the capacity, seating capacity for the
Yeah,
theater?
so we have 361 seats in the theater.
361. And some theaters, especially these older theaters, weren't set up for today for the acoustics. So there was a lot of work done over the years so that it is now the envy, I guess, of a lot of older theaters.
To a degree, yes. Admittedly, I would say it's a bit of a stretch to call us state of the art.
Okay.
We're working towards that as
Okay.
a goal.
Okay.
But one of the neat things about the Sunrise is that we have the raw bones for it to be pretty exceptional.
Yeah.
The auditorium was designed to be a music location, and it has been tweaked over the years so that it's now, they say, 99.4% acoustically perfect. And so as a place to both play and listen to music, it's phenomenal. It sounds really good. One of the things that we're really working to do right now is fundraise to be able to acquire and install our own sound and lighting system, which currently we have to rent it every time we do an event.
Oh.
But that allows us to do a lot more at a smaller scale. And so once that goes in with a system that is really almost perfectly balanced to the acoustics of the room,
Right.
it's exciting because there's so much we can do with that. So yeah, that's part of the renovation.
Becky, are you recruiting talent and shows from outside the area to come into Southern Pines?
So our board and Tim definitely work hard to get local and talent outside of the county
Right.
into the stage, both outside and inside stages. And so I think what really is great about the Sunrise that I've learned in the last month being there is just the variety that we put on there. So you can go one day and see the Met Opera, and the next day you might be at a rock concert. So it's like it's just amazing. And then the next day you might come watch a movie. So it's just there's so much variety, and it takes a lot of people to get everything done. We definitely have lots of volunteers. Like you said, we are a nonprofit, so getting the community involved and supporting us is definitely key. To keep things running. There's lots of people that work behind the scenes to get everything done. So that.
And you're also recruiting volunteers all the time.
Absolutely. We always need lots of volunteers for lots of projects. On our first Friday, when we've got thousands of people outside,
Sure.
there are 35 to 40 volunteers helping us out. So
You just had the last First Friday, I guess, on the 7th of November.
And we got one more coming.
That was on the 7th.
November 7th is our last First Friday of this season.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that also puts you front and center because First Fridays has taken on a life of its own. That's
Yes.
another thing that didn't exist. It's a terrific thing for the community. You have a lot of holiday programming set up. You have how many events do you try to have during a normal 7-day week?
Well, it really varies, and there's been no normal.
Yeah.
This past year has been largely an experiment in many ways to see what kind of events and programming people wanted to come and see, and the frequency. What's been amazing, I would say, is that we have done a lot. We've done comedy, we've done experiential cinema, live theater, movies, concerts, tribute bands, First Fridays.
Tribute bands are a big deal, aren't they?
They are,
Yeah.
and they really love it at the Sunrise.
Yeah.
But it's been phenomenal to see the level of support. And yeah, now that we're getting into the holiday season, we have three big holiday events coming up. But I would say, kind of to your point earlier, one of the crowning jewels of the season thus far has been the MoCo Rising concert that happened on October 11th, which, to your point earlier about local and big names, the whole concept behind that concert was to pair together some of our county's most famous musicians with some of the emerging up-and-comers to shine a spotlight on the incredible talent that we have here. And
Right.
not only did it sell out, but it spawned so much enthusiasm for this concept of what we're trying to do, which is really turn Moore County into a music, art, and a cultural hub. I mean, it always has had a big piece of that, but
Right.
but make it a bigger piece and have arts and music be one of the three main economic pillars of the region, of the county rather. And we're seeing that as we plan these new events and do concerts. People are showing up, and that's the greatest testament, I think, to your original point that this is an art and a cultural county. We can support it because people are turning out to support the arts.
And the idea that you have the ability to experiment with different types of entertainment and to sort of take a reading on what is the public, what do they gravitate towards, and which way are you going to go next year. It's almost like a petri dish of the arts, and you can create your own menu, so to speak. The people will tell you, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So you're all paying attention. What has your experience been with the businesses supporting you in downtown Southern Pines? All the other businesses where you have the support, where you kind of have partnerships, you're not competitors. Have you had much experience, and probably good experience with that?
Yeah, quite a bit. In part of our role, we see the Sunrise, of course, as a performing arts center, but we play a really critical role in the community. And I feel that the Sunrise, being its location and its visibility, as an anchor and a draw to the downtown area. And so I feel a sense of responsibility that with the Sunrise's emergence and success, there's a trickle-down impact on the downtown area.
Yeah.
And there's a great statistic that for every dollar that gets spent in a performing arts venue, especially one that is physically located downtown, there's a $9 trickle-down impact to the rest of the community through restaurants, retail sales, hotel sales. We just had our first gala, and the level of support from the downtown businesses to support that gala was extraordinary. And so we're really grateful. In turn, we try to do things for the downtown community, like we're putting on a fashion show on December 5th, where we're going to transform the Sunrise into this glittery Paris and Milan worthy fashion house, and 13 of the downtown boutiques are participating in
Oh,
this.
my goodness.
And that's the kind of community-oriented thing that we love, because it just gets everybody all working towards that same common goal of really, not revitalizing, but increasing the vitality of Southern Pines.
December 5th is the event.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that very close to the Christmas parade? I don't know what the date is for the Christmas parade, but it seems like that's a kickoff for Christmas week.
It's close. The fashion show is 7 o'clock in the evening, but it's
Okay.
really meant to be an opportunity for the boutiques to show off, their collections in the shopping season.
Absolutely.
Give them a platform.
Absolutely. Becky, do you put in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or do you? This is not a 4 to 5 day a week job, is it?
No, I think that working in the arts, it's definitely a full-time job, whether it's meant to be that or not. It's definitely a full-time job, thinking of everything through, getting everything organized, making sure that you're planning things so far in advance that you're making sure that you've got all those details ready and everybody on board with what you need for each thing. So it's always, Tim and I are always thinking of things and coming to each other with, well, I thought of this and just different ideas and different things that, did we do that yet? And, do we have that taken care of? So it's definitely a labor of love to get it all done in all hours of the day. So, yeah.
Do you also have the ability to lease out the theater for private events?
Yep. In fact, we do that quite a bit. Both the theater, we have an upstairs VIP lounge that can hold 40 people. There's a Dolby Atmos screening room up there. The outdoor stage in the green space is available for rental, and so is the marquee for those marriage proposals and anniversary commemorations that we see from time to time.
Right. We're going to come back in the third set. I want to listen to some of the highlights that you have scheduled between now and Christmas, because it looks pretty active. Actually, you're already booked out through May. I mean, it's crazy. Our show is all about the Sunrise Theater. This is All Things Moore County. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our final set. We've been enjoying talking all about the renaissance of the Sunrise Theater. 130, 135 years, pretty much, since that 1896. And this building and this place has been in existence all that time. And now you're at new beginnings. That's certainly clear. So I'm hoping a lot of people who are not familiar with the Sunrise will get familiar with it. Are you scheduling? Are you the person in touch with all the people for the shows? Are you the point person? He is.
Tim is, yeah.
Okay.
Tim is. I'm just starting to get down I've only been at Sunrise for a month, and I'm just starting to get the day-to-day processes of getting things set up.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
It's really an extraordinary process to put on an event. And again, the goal is for an audience member not to see or even realize or appreciate it, but all that work behind the scenes, that's Becky's handiwork out there. And so we're really fortunate to have her on board to do that.
I agree with you. I agree. I have a lot of respect for her.
Yeah.
You have a lot of opera events coming up. I never associated the Sunrise Theater in the past, living here 25, 26 years, with opera. Am I just hiding under the rocks, or is that true? Is that a new twist and turn?
No, we've actually been live streaming the opera for, I believe it's almost 19 years now.
See that?
And this is a really special year because the 25-26 season of the Metropolitan Opera just premiered on October 18th with a new delivery mechanism. So now if you come to watch the opera live, it is broadcast in 8K high definition in full surround sound, which is extraordinary. You sit there and it seems like you're sitting in the middle of the orchestra pit while you watch the opera.
Oh, wow.
And whether you're an opera fan or not, it's an amazing experience.
I bet.
Coming up on, I think it's the 8th of November, is probably the most famous opera of all, La Bohème. And that's going to obviously be very popular.
Yep.
But, yep, the new season's just kicked off.
I see one of my favorites, the Murphy Family Christmas, is going to be at the theater on the 14th of December. What great people. Paul has been on the show wearing many different hats. His family is so talented. They do this every year, don't they?
They do. This is going to be the 14th season of the Murphy Family Christmas. And people were asking me all year long, are you doing the Murphy Family Christmas? And we just announced it last week. So it's not Christmas without the Murphy Family Christmas.
I see the Moore Philharmonic String Quartet will be performing.
Yep, that is on December 19th. It's going to be a really special, unique thing where the auditorium is going to be lit really by hundreds of candles, and it's going to be a Christmas concert by candlelight event. So we're really excited about that.
Something that has to do with Valentine's Day. I'm not familiar with Ashes and Arrows. Can you fill me in?
Ashes and Arrows, just a phenomenal band. They were on, I think they got their start on America's Got Talent a couple years ago.
Really?
And they've been on the festival circuit for many years. Just an extraordinary band, and we've got them.
What kind of music?
It's sort of a mix of bluegrass and Americana, but really tight harmonies, very melodic. I've heard people describe them kind of as a cross between modern-day Crosby, Stills, and Nash and
Oh, wow.
Americana. A little unique, but that's what makes them special.
I'll edge myself and tell you I saw Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young at the Fillmore East when I was in high school. When Neil Young just joined them, and I was a jock. I was not one of the cool guys, and I know that the girl that went with me was only because I had the extra ticket. Even then, I knew that. But what a sound that is! So when you say Crosby, Stills, and Nash, boom, I love it.
Yeah,
that is great. Christmas and no, what is it? You have your first tribute band, Steely Dan tribute band, coming in January.
Yep, Dirty Logic, probably one of the best Steely Dan tribute bands that exist.
Is that right?
And I'm really excited for that, being a big Steely Dan fan.
Talk to me about tribute bands and the urge for people to go back 2-3 decades. They seem to be very prevalent, and it brings people back to the times when they were growing up, right? I know Pam Pardis is very active doing the tribute bands. She does them at Cooper Ford. You should probably talk to her for a venue, because I think they have one that just got canceled because of bad weather. But is it just the world we live in today that people want to go back to a simpler time, and that's where the tribute bands come up, where we get to celebrate a time when things weren't so crazy?
You know, it's a great question, and I asked my 19-year-old son this question.
Smart.
You know, the music from the late 60s to the mid-80s has been undergoing a sort of a new resurgence again, whether it's yacht rock, classic rock, and, you know, my son Tim will come to me and say, "Oh, Dad, listen to this great band I just discovered, and it's Ambrosia," you know. And
that's right.
And you know, he loves Tom Petty, and
oh, wow.
You know, and of course I saw Tom Petty many times growing up, but for that generation, they're never going to get a chance to see Fleetwood Mac or Tom Petty or Queen. And so it's the closest that they're going to get. So it's interesting when we do the tribute bands, you look out in the audience, and it's certainly your older generation that grew up with that music that are coming back for nostalgic purposes. But there are a lot of young kids out there that are singing along to every word and having just as much fun. And it's another thrilling piece of it, because being a music lover, to see that younger generation getting as passionate and enthusiastic about Fleetwood Mac as we all were, that's a really exciting thing.
The music of the 60s and the 70s were some of the best music ever written.
Yeah. After
that, it just went off in so many different tangents. And my father used to say, in 20 years, 30, when you're an adult, this music will fade away. Well, he was dead wrong. But the kids who grew up in the 90s and the 2000s, I don't know if that music is going to still be around. I don't know. Maybe I'm just showing my generational ineptitude.
Well, on March 23rd, or 21st, I think it might be, we're just about to announce Electric Avenue, the 1980s MTV Experience tribute concert. So all your favorite 80s hits performed live on stage.
Do you guys, when you have events planned, do you get together with some of the local restaurants? Do you plan events or early dinners? There's got to be some coordination, because I know you have a good partnership.
Yeah, one of the things we've started to do actually is in the upstairs lounge over the theater. The Sunrise actually does a pre-show catered dinner, and one of the challenges we've heard from so many is that, hey, we want to come down for the 7:00 show, but the restaurants that are downtown, they fill up really fast.
That's right.
So the Sunrise is offering that as an option, but for like dinner and a movie ideas, that's all coming next year for sure.
They didn't teach us this stuff in college, did they? How to creatively plan a nonprofit, how to think outside the box, how to create something from nothing. I don't remember that in college. Do you? Theater is the whole performing arts. It's very challenging, and it's like a retailer. Every season, they better be right on with the colors and the materials, because they only have one opportunity to hit it. So, but it sounds like you guys are on the right track.
Well, the good thing is that, again,
more than the right track.
We exist because of this community, and this is the community's theater.
Right.
And we have very close relationships with a lot of our regular patrons that come in, and they share with us the good and the bad, and we get a lot of feedback from the community about what they like and what they don't. So, in one way it's challenging, but on the other hand, not really. Again, I think it's the best part of this is that it is very much of a community-based theater.
When people reach out to you about leasing the theater and doing some of their own private events, what kind of events are they looking to do?
It really ranges the gamut. We've had a travel company it was a cruise line, and they wanted to invite people in to show on the big screen beautiful graphics of their cruises. So that's sort of a corporate rental. We might have a musician that's traveling through that may want to rent out the theater to put on their own concert.
Gotcha.
That's another example. People that, and I did this with my wife about 5 years ago, I wanted to show her favorite movie, which was The Black Stallion, and I rented out the theater, and it was just the two of us in there to watch that movie.
Oh, is that right?
So it can range everything from big to small.
At the beginning of the show, we talked about the changing demographics and people who move here who may not know a lot about the Sunrise Theater. So for those people who haven't been in, what do you tell them? What are they going to see when they come in? It's not just a movie theater. It's no longer just a movie theater. There's something special about it. How do you put it into words?
That's a great question, and we are not trying to be just a movie house or just a concert venue. We take a lot of pride. If you look at the displays of our posters for events in our lobby, as Becky had talked about earlier, you're going to see a poster for an opera,
Yeah.
a jazz concert, a rock concert, an art exhibition on screen, a comedy show, an educational lecture. And we want it so that everyone on any given week is going to go, I wonder what's happening at the Sunrise this week. And
Right.
you're not going to like everything we do, but I guarantee you'll find something that's going to pique your interest. So, just that in and of itself being a unique venue is the reason why you should sign up to receive our weekly newsletter or follow us on social media, because we're announcing things every week.
That was my final question. How social media is playing into the marketing, because you probably are now taking a very aggressive posture. You have a fairly intuitive website. It's very easy to get through. That's something where you're hoping people go on to each week to see what's going on, and they always want to see something new, always a new announcement, a new whatever. Is that your primary medium for getting the word out?
Yeah, we're looking at each other.
That's okay. I mean,
in the past, the Sunrise, the demographic has largely been, I would say, 40 to 45 plus. That is more traditional advertising, print, newspaper.
what you really want to say is they don't know how to operate a computer and get on Instagram and Facebook when they get older. I'm kidding. I'm one of those.
Right, and I'm one of those too. And I don't know the first idea how to do a TikTok thing.
Right.
And so we need to really improve our ability to leverage social media, because to your point,
Yeah.
we want to attract that younger audience in there.
I've enjoyed having both of you come on. I feel like this Renaissance is in good hands, and there are a lot of exciting things that are going to come out of this. The cool thing about what you do is you don't know where you're going to be in 6 months. You're going to be changing and evolving and tweaking, and I think it's only going to get better and better and better, and you definitely should have the support of this community. I know you're going to be an integral part of this, and maybe I'll see you after only being there for 1 month, after 6 months, and you can give me more information at that point. Yes. Becky, anytime you want to use the show to get any information out, you just, like and we've done in the past, just reach out to me. Always welcome.
We always appreciate your support.
Oh, always welcome. Tim, it's a pleasure to meet you, and I wish you guys all the best. You don't need luck. I just think you need the support, and it looks like you guys are doing everything the right way. The Sunrise Theater, if you haven't seen it, make it a point this year, this holiday season, to get over there and see what all the talk is about. Thank you all. This is All Things Moore County. Have a great week.